It's War Games, NXT 2.0, two rings, a double-sized cage, and in the middle of the two rings you can get thrown over the top rope, and there's two ring aprons, which are both the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Why do you do that? That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you should be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Knock it off. That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling a thumbtacks. The hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. One more. Sometimes you're distracting that referee and the babyface has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched to the ring apron and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. What's going on, Bob Squad? Got a new microphone. I hope you can hear me. Did you know it was War Games from NXT 2.0 this week? Not a lot of people did. I think I found out Friday. Am I the only one? Who knows? Let's find out. On the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Hey, Bob Squad. Only the Bob Squad. We're talking about NXT 2.0 War Games. It's two teams of four fight in big cages with all of the weapons, but the cage is already a weapon in itself. It's confusing. And it's an NXT, but it's like a takeover, but it's not a takeover. They just call it an event, and it's on Peacock. And I just found out a couple of days ago it's happening because I stopped watching the program. I just said program for no reason. Well, who knew? Huh? I did not think this was going to happen. We had Survivor Series, I think, 2 weeks ago. And day one, the pay-per-view is happening on New Year's Day, a Saturday. Okay, very good. That's how we're going to start the new year, watching more pre-packaged bullshit. How was War Games? Was there good? Was there bad? Was there ugly? There was lots of ugly. There was so much ugly. Let's waste no more time. If there's any business to take care of, I'll think about it at the end. Let me get out my notes, Bob Squad. I'm testing my new $40 microphone from Staples. It is NXT War Games. What's today's date? The 5th? Okay. For December 5th, 2001. I didn't see the pre-show, so I don't know if there was a pre-show match. I'm okay with that. Io Shirai, Cora Jade, Raquel Gonzalez, and Kaylee Ray fought the three members of Toxic Attraction: Mandy Rose, Gigi Rowland, and Plain Jane, and Dakota Kai. And the idea here is, if you're not familiar with War Games, it's a team of four versus a team of four. One team that's already been determined has an advantage from matches that have already taken place in the past. So there's two rings, and they're both surrounded by a big cage. And one member from each team, they fight each other for 3 or 5 minutes or something. And then whoever got the advantage first, and their team member gets to come in next and have a 2-on-1 advantage. And then the other team, their person comes in and has to try to make up the advantage. And this goes on until all 8 people are in the ring, and the match can only end once all 8 people are in the ring. It's the simplest way I can explain it. Bear with me. Oh, God. This was pain. This was so much pain. We start off with Kaylee Ray and Dakota Kai. We're having a really good match, or they're trying to, but there's crap in the way. So every time they get going, they go, oh, that's right, we have to do a kendo stick thing, which you don't, by the way, in War Games, just so you know. But they insist that they do. And both matches had this problem. Whenever anyone entered, they had to bring more crap into the ring. And there were 2 rings, and there was still too much crap everywhere. So Kaylee and Dakota go back and forth, and they're having a great time. And they're doing great, and Kaylee's got nice hair. And then Cora Jade. Who the hell is Cora Jade? Apparently she's 20 years old. they meant to tell us, so she's subject to all the pervs in the locker room, and she has a skateboard. Now you know Johnny Ace is involved in NXT 2.0. Why? Because we have another wrestler with a skateboard they clearly don't know how to use. How old is that reference? That's a 30-year-old reference there. She rides it for 2 seconds and gets the hell off it and says, I'm done with this. Then, of course, uses it as a weapon. So Cora Jade is inexperienced, and then Gigi Rowland, who's got the same mean face on all the time, but it's a good mean face, it works. She gets Gigi Rowland, then she brings in crap garbage cans. So many metal garbage cans. No, they don't even make those anymore. They just... So there's so much crap under the ring, and this is a reoccurring theme. I can't emphasize this enough. There's so many kendo sticks and crutches and crowbars and chairs and tables underneath the ring. Is there not a better place to store this if it were real? And later on in the men's match, they need a toolbox that's always kept under the ring at every wrestling show, pretty much ever, and they can't find it. Gee, I wonder why. There's too much crap. Later on in the show, they found an extra human under there. Did you know? They did. But we're not talking about that yet. So Io Shirai comes in, and she jumps around, and she's a house of fire. Actually, she took a while to get going, but later on she kicks everybody's ass. And she flips and flies around, and there's kendo sticks. And then Plain Jane is lying on a table. And, oh wait, but when Plain Jane gets in, she's the one who brings in a table. And she's like the fakest of the three toxic ones. She's got the fake charisma that Carmelo Hayes has, and Grayson Waller have, and the Miz honestly have the fake charisma. So look at me, I'm charismatic, because I'm telling you I am. So Plain Jane, I don't know what it's Jane something, I don't know what the fuck her name is. Something Jane, who knows. She takes the table out and she lets out this, woo, I got a table. Like, you would think she was pouring Jello shots for her sorority. I got a table, woo, who wants tables, yay. Like, you're supposed to be at war, Plain Jane. But anyway, G.I. Jane ends up on a line at a table, and what's her name, Cora Jade, who can't ride a skateboard, jumps off and does a flip off the top of the double cage, and puts Plain Jane through the thing, and it's nowhere near the finish because we still have more people to enter. And then it's said that Cora Jade has dislocated her shoulder, and Io Shirai comes to check on her, and what's the other one who's in there so far? Kaylee Ray looks at her, but she's only recently been a good guy, so with less sympathy. But so then this happens. They consider taking her out of the match, and this is how you know it's not real. The doctors are going to take her out of the match, and Io Shirai closes the door on the doctors and says, I got this. And I laughed. I laughed till I cried. Because I was saying out loud jokingly to no one, because I live alone, I've made mistakes. I said, hey, wouldn't it be great if Io Shirai does the Miyagi thing from the first Karate Kid, does the big clap, and then resets Cora Jade's shoulder? And she did. That's exactly what without the clap. Thank goodness. I don't know where she's spending her free time. It's none of my business. Without the clap, Io Shirai resets the shoulder. It was Daniel's knee, but whatever. They actually do that. And then the announcers sell it like... Io Shirai, to my knowledge, is not a medical doctor. But then you'd expect Cora Jade to start get up and fight again. She just still lays there in agony anyway. So what was the point of all of that, honestly? To suggest that Io Shirai has magical healing powers? Who is she? Rey Skywalker? Easy, Bob. Okay. So... Then they got to do this spot. Every War Games, they've done it since 3 or 4 years ago when they started bringing this thing back, where the two sides of 4 all stand off against each other. They do the big standoff. It's the War Games equivalent of when anyone wrestled John Cena, and they trade punches, and people go, yay, boo, yay, boo. And now they just do that in every match anyway. It's the War Games equivalent of that, and they do it every single War Games match, and they did it here as well. And then Raquel Gonzalez, when she entered last... She had a fire extinguisher, which she stumbled on. Okay, Raquel. Pass. Pull, aim, squeeze, spray. That's how you operate a fire extinguisher. Anyway, she sprays the girls. You look at, who do I sound like? She sprays the other women with it. She sprays Mandy with it, and there's a bunch of chaos. And somehow Cora Jade pins Plain Jane after all that. So they're trying to make Cora Jade somehow, and the good guys win. Fine, good. The Toxic Team, Dakota doesn't need to win the match. I thought they were gonna, but just because they're getting pushed so heavily, because Johnny and Bruce have hard-ons for hot chicks and don't know that people have the internet and can see hot chicks anywhere. But whatever. Toxic did not need to win this. They have all the gold anyway. We need to set up feuds. One thing you can do at War Games is have champions get beat. We'll get to that. And set up some matches a little later on. They did it last year when Raquel beat Io Shirai, oddly enough. They're on the same team. They're on opposing teams, excuse me. So there you go. So they win, yay. So it elevates Cora, but it doesn't hurt anyone else. A good finish. What a painful match. Because after 98 commercials, I mean, listen, when I say every single woman, including the first two, had to bring weapons into the damn thing. There's nowhere to go. And if I'm the main event, the 8 guys in the main event, I'm like, what the... They should have bitched, and I'm sure they didn't, but someone should have bitched and said, hey, it's hard enough with 2 of these colossal gimmick matches on a show. Does the one going on first have to do everything? Because there's nowhere to go. But whatever. Nobody listens to Bob. They don't listen to Bob. No one listens to Bob. Then we have 98 commercials for joggers pants for women who want to look hot and be casual. Then we have a commercial for Power Water. I'm not kidding. And Pandora and Diet Coke, which not like... You know how Diet Pepsi tastes just like regular... Damn it, I fucked it up. You know how Diet Dr. Pepper tastes just like regular Dr. Pepper? Well, Diet Coke tastes nothing like regular Coke. And they have a commercial for Cricket Wireless. And then an NXT promo for this boa guy, who maybe he wears feather boas. I don't know who he is. Then MSK does an unfunny skit on a special event. It's not. I don't think it's a pay-per-view. I don't think this was available on pay-per-view. Just adjust the cock. So okay. So the MSK Memorial Sloan Kettering Midget Street Crew, they're jokingly sad, and they're doing Young Bucks comedy here. Look how silly we are. And they find a tag team leader called the Shaman, a guy who knows about tag team wrestling, but we don't see him yet. I'm assuming it's a veteran of some kind. I hope it's one of the Steiners. No, it's not. I don't know who it is. It's probably Road Dogg. Give him something to do. I don't know. Devon still works there. No, it's not. Bob, it's no one you like. It's no one cool. And it's not Road Dogg either. Okay. Alrighty. Whatever. Then there's a promo from the Black and Gold. And they kind of hint that it's Gargano's last match here. And I think it is. I think the Skinny, the Scuttlebutt, the Rumor, the Deep Dish is that he might have done what I think Cole did, like sign an extension for like a day or 2 or something like that, just to do this match. Don't quote me on that. It's an internet thing. But they kind of were like, it's Gargano's last, and that was that. And this is also Beth Phoenix last night as commentary as well. She said that through Twitter a couple of days ago. So if it comes from the source, then I'm comfortable saying Beth Phoenix says it's her last night commentating, whatever. She's got to spend more time with her babies. And then what happens after that? We have this goofy ass tag team match. The heels, Imperium, did a bunch of cool moves, didn't cheat, and were tough as nails and won clean, and everyone cheered them. So good job for the bad guys, but they were awesome. And usually this team, in my eyes, is just that Marcel guy, and Fabian's just a brute. He's just kind of there. Fabian was really impressive here. Anytime Kyle O'Reilly was in a match with one of Imperium, it was awesome, and far surpassed how good I thought it was going to be. My only complaint was we were an hour into the show and a second match was starting, and I was throwing up at that idea. So, Von Wagner, who looks like an ape, who looks like the old caveman in the Geico commercials. It's been so stupid and preposterous to me this entire time that Kyle O'Reilly was needed motivation and guidance and to be told how to wrestle by Van Wagner, who had no matches and looked like a caveman. He really does look like mini Great Khali, which is still really big. His big, stupid, bony face. Okay, but so they have an excellent match when Kyle's in the ring, and Wagner at one point gets caught by Fabian Eichner, and Fabian catches him in a fireman's carry and squats with him, and just the most. People were going nuts for Imperium, and they should. Again, they didn't cheat and did awesome moves. Oh, idiots! That's how baby faces get over. I mean, but at least I got to see some good wrestling, so I was fine with it. I mean, I know why it's fundamentally wrong, but I didn't care. Just at this point, just show me anything that's not shitty. So, and they did. They showed me something very good. This was very funny at the end, and I said out loud, "Who booked this? Me?" Because this is exactly what I would do. Because I think nothing of Von Wagner. So they do the thing where Kyle, he wrestles his heart out, nearly wins the tag team championship several times. Kyle O'Reilly does lose to the bad guy's finisher. Heels take off. People clap for Kyle. Von Wagner condescendingly claps for Kyle, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to be like, Kyle's Von Wagner's little buddy like he's been for months. And I haven't watched the show in over a month, and it's still the same. So then Van Wagner goes to turn on Kyle. Kyle ducks the clothesline and beats the shit out of him. Is this a record? And I'm not complaining because Von Wagner shouldn't be on TV. Is this a record for the least effective heel turn in the history of pro wrestling? Wow. His heel turn lasted 1/3 of a second before his heat went down a toilet and Kyle just beat the piss out of him. Which the thing is, if you're flipping channels and you see Wagner and Kyle standing next to each other, yes, of course, Wagner's huge. I mean, he's big next to Kyle. You think, oh, this Wagner guy would beat the shit out of this little guy. But if you watched him for more than a half second and watch him for like 30 seconds, you go, oh, one of these guys is an athlete and the other guy's a big stumbling boob. And Kyle should totally be kicking the shit out of this guy. Because this guy can't move. He's immobile. So, and he's clumsy. And he looks stupid. I totally expect Kyle O'Reilly to beat the shit out of this guy if you watch them, if you're not flipping channels and you watch for more than 1/3 of a second. So Kyle beats the piss out of him, and then he cuts a promo later. Kyle tells probably a blonde lady, I forgot, but he probably did tell a blonde lady, I've had everyone turn on me. You think I didn't see that coming? And I beat his ass. It's like, okay, cool. I got no issues there. I got no complaints. So pleasantly surprised with whatever happened there. I've never seen that before. The heel turn, because Wagner took too long to wind up for the clothesline. So it's like, okay, he just ruined his own heel turn because he should do it out of nowhere. Instead, he told everyone he's going to do it and then went to do it. And I just went, wow, he's too stupid to turn on his tag partner. And apparently he is. Okay, let's move on. Then we have more commercials for Target delivery. The Power Water again. The Peacock has Back to the Future and the old Spider-Man trilogies. And something else I can't read. Oh, Hello Fresh Meals. So the Peacock is just littered with fucking commercials. They do it again, but I'm not going to bring it up again. They do it between every match. Hair versus hair. Apparently Cameron Grimes has been feuding with a Duke Hudson guy who's got an accent. I guess we all have accents, it's relative. But to the American audience, Cameron Grimes also does have an accent, just so you know. Anyway, Grimes beats the fucking guy with a hook of the tights and then tries to shave his head, but the heel cheats and fights back or something, and then Grimes beats him up anyway. And Grimes shaves his head, or at least gets the razors through the middle of his head, to emphasize that we're definitely shaving the guy's head. This was fun. The crowd seemed into the stipulation, which is good because I think the match alone, no one would have cared. The crowd seemed to respond to, hey, he's going to be bald. No, he's going to be bald. They seemed to be okay with that. So that was good. So that made it good. supposedly the old thing is in wrestling, and this is why this works almost none of the time, is the thing with clippers is, first of all, it's very hard to shave a full head of hair with clippers. Like, you can do it, but you have to really press, and it's not going to feel good to the other guy. But hell, it ain't ballet, brother. Yeah. But the thing is, if the match has been long, you're going to be really sweaty, and probably these guys are all oiled up. At least Duke would be. So, and it's really hard to cut wet hair, let alone cut a full head of hair with clippers. So, just so you know, there was a struggle, and Grimes managed to get a few good stripes up the middle of the head, which was good, which was smart, to just to show them, so he didn't just clip a little bit at the end of the guy's hair and then whatever. He needed the thing is the heel has to look silly, and he wasn't going to get him all the way bald, so he doesn't even have a long hair. His hair is like 3 inches long. It's just like a nice, perfectly coiffed head of hair, but it's not even long. It's just pretty. But he needed to unpretty the pretty boy, and it's gonna grow back. That guy's probably 26 years old. He's not balding. A nice head of hair. It's gonna be back in like 2 months, and in the meantime, he can wear hats and be pissed off and blah 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 blah. But hey, it's fun. I got no problem with that. The super woke guy, Joe Gacy, fights Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong has 9 guys with him and a heel manager, and he's the babyface here. Hard to boo Roderick. He was just too athletic and not cheating. Again, the Imperium issue. And Joe Gacy had this big, bald, creepy guy with him who at one time picked up the female member of the Diamond Club, but then had to put her back down because Joe Gacy told him. And Gacy kept going for the hug, which is not a move. Like, literally just hug the guy to hug him, which is nice, but they were in a wrestling contest. And Roderick beats him, thank God. It was the whole thing was the super woke guy who's chubby says that the cruiserweight title is not inclusive and weight shames people. It's a one-note joke, ha ha ha, and it might have been entertaining if the guy won it. I kind of thought he was going to, just so they can bash home this one-note joke, but I think they bashed it home enough. And Gacy doesn't need it, because they're going to keep bashing home this one note anyway. So Roderick wins. And the fact that Grimes beat the new guy and shaved his head, and Roderick beat the new woke guy, and Von Wagner's 1 second heel turn didn't work, and the new girls all lost to the not as new girls or women. Goddamn, I'm sorry. That should have been an indication to what the outcome of the main event was. So Team Black and Gold, the old school guys who were younger than me, oh no, wrestled Team 2.0, the new younger guys who are even more younger than me. The problem is only 3 of the 4 of them suck. We have Braun Breaker, who's good. Grayson Waller, who does nothing well. Can't even stomp correctly. He's the drizzling shits. Tony D'Angelo is a racist Italian thing. He does nothing well either. He peaked at the vignettes he did. He's done. Carmelo Hayes has the fake charisma. Look at me, I'm charismatic. And some asshole at ringside called Trick Williams hands Carmelo shit. And they wrestle the team of Tommaso Ciampa, who's the champion. And even though he's like 5'8", is a grizzled and buff dude. They want to fight Pete Dunne, who I think really, his style complements this War Games match the best. He's in all of them, but that's besides the point. LA Knight, I love LA Knight. He can wrestle, he can talk, he does everything very well. And Johnny Gargano, who I think this is the end of Johnny Gargamel. I think, are you out there? If you're listening, Chris, sorry. No more Gargamel. The Smurfs have won. So how do we start this match? Carmelo Hayes with fake charisma wrestles Johnny Gargano. They start off, and Carmelo sells like Gargano with the staring out blankly and not really selling. Let me take some water. And I hope the audio is good on this because I'm not doing it again. Oh boy. Okay, I had my water. Stayed hydrated, prevented fatigue and headaches. Carmelo and Gargano are in there, and Grayson Waller. So Grayson Waller is a brutish guy in boxing shorts who's supposed to be like a modern version of the Thrill Seekers from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Lance Storm and Chris Jericho. And Grayson Waller only cares about going viral, so he can't talk. His stomps and his strikes and his basic moves are the shits. He did a leg lariat that breaks Gargano's nose on his last match there. Broke the guy's nose. I mean, the blood came out seconds after the bump from that kick, so right away, okay. Later on, I'm going to jump ahead a little and go back. Grayson Waller does a jump off the cage from onto a table on LA Knight, and he did it as sloppy as Shane McMahon does. The legs are everywhere. He's like flopping off. He just fell off a high thing is all he really did. The only thing about Grayson Waller I want going viral are his white blood cells. Bob, stop it. That's not true at all. I apologize. Anyway, it's Waller and Carmelo teaming up on Gargamel, and then Pete Dunne gets in there to even the odds. And like I said, Pete Dunne's style, because he slowly just grinds you to pieces and hurts your limbs, usually your hands and fingers, but your body parts, it just works for war games, because the build up to war games should be long and painful. And that's what Dunne does. And it's very hard for him as a babyface to have that style. He didn't change it, kudos to him, but it's so hard. I thought he was taking the pin, and then I remembered, wait, you want to set up another title match, don't you? So then I remembered, no, he's not going to take the pin. But anyway, so he was stomping away on Waller's hands and twisting his fingers through the cage and everything else, which was all very good. And he looks like he has fun doing it. He's just too sadistic to stay a babyface, but it works for this. And then who came after that? Oh, it was that Tony D'Angelo guy. He just comes in, and that Trick Williams idiot keeps handing him tables, and now they're just shoving in crap. Like 3 tables Tony brought in, and one of them, the table legs popped out, and they knew this time. They cut away because I think someone who's very smart said, okay, it's going to be really embarrassing to show him stumble with this, and thankfully there was 5 or 6 other guys in the ring. Show one of them doing something. I mean, at that point, they all know it's similar to the Royal Rumble. It's like, okay, someone new is entering, like everybody get down there and sell, or grab a hold or something, or tie up with each other, because the eyeballs are going to be somewhere else anyway. Why do anything? Why risk anything? Trick Williams is handing stupid kendo sticks, and they're just going over the top, and 98 weapons and crutches. You can't possibly use them. And he goes under the ring, and finally Dexter Lumis is under the ring, chases off Williams, and gives Gargano what I guess is a final thumbs up. So how about that? Which is a good kind of, way to end it, in a good, simple homage. Like, he didn't do anything phony except hide under the ring, allegedly, for days. He just chased the guy off, didn't even touch the guy, and then gave a thumbs up. Well, there's nothing phony about that. He didn't touch him. The guy ran away because he was scared. LA Knight is in the ring. People were behind him. I was behind him. He was in there. He had the swagger. Here's one of the many reasons I love LA Knight. He wasn't just cutting awesome promos on the way to this thing. I found one on Twitter. It's like a 2.5 minute promo by the 4 guys, and he does like most of it in a middle minute and a half, and it's just excellent. He's so pro wrestling. I love this guy. He is so good. I forget what idiot he was in a. I think Braun Breaker gets in later and Irish whips him. LA Knight is in the middle of reversing an Irish whip. And in the middle of reversing an Irish whip, he kicks a garbage can out of the way so that he can take the whip into the ropes and then take a move from, I think it was Braun Breaker. That's how good the fucking guy is. But he's kind of short, so who cares, I guess, right? Stupid fucking Vince and his cronies. LA Knight's in there, so Braun Breaker would be in there next, and Tommaso Ciampa's in after him. I think it was Tony D'Angelo broke. When he brought the tables in, this is just hitting me now. He screwed his own partner because the heels were in charge. I guess the 2.0 guys were the heels mainly, except for Braun Breaker, who's heel-ish, but no. He does the thing where he has like a chain and a lock, and he and he locks the door closed because they were in charge, so no one new can get in. So LA Knight had to climb it over the top. And then Braun Breaker's next. So now Braun Breaker can't get in. So his own partner was stupid enough to. Wouldn't do that until all four of your guys are in and you have the 4 versus 3 advantage. Why would you lock the door when you only have a 3 and 3 advantage and your giant, strong main event guy partner is still yet to come? That makes no sense. It's just hitting me now. Wow, that was really idiotic. Anyway, Braun Breaker, because the officials couldn't do the bolt cutters, Braun Breaker says, I'll do it because I'm strong, and he does it. And he can't really do it either. I guess it's tricky. There's an angle or something. And he's squeezing, and Dunn and Gargano and not Ciampa, because he wouldn't be in yet. I think Dunn and Gargano look at each other and they kind of snickered and laughed because they're baby faces. They're supposed to do what it's supposed to do. Anyway, somehow they got the damn thing open, and they didn't show the chain being cut. I'm wondering if someone just said, "Screw it, here's the key." I don't know. Maybe he did cut him. I really have no idea. But anyway, Braun gets in there, and of course, power slams and big moves and suplexes. And at one point, he had Pete Dunne. They were both in between the 2 rings on the double ring apron, hardest part of the ring, 2 hardest parts of the ring. This is the only time, War Games is the only time of the year where the middle of the ring is the hardest part of the ring. How about that? It's a conundrum, man. It's like when someone points out that the current date is a palindrome and I'm supposed to care? No, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. They're numbers. It's going to happen sometimes. Anyway, Tommaso Ciampa eventually gets in there and he kicks a bunch of ass and everyone's kicking ass. And Waller does the stupid elbow through the table I mentioned. There's some crutches, and that ties back to the history of the old Ciampa Gargano team from back in the day. And Ciampa hits people with the crutch after Gargano hands it to him and kind of goes, this is your thing. And there's some double team moves from DIY, etc., etc. At one point, the big move, Ciampa hits Braun Breaker with that driver thing off the second rope through those galvanized weird metal garbage cans that only exist in pro wrestling and nowhere else on earth anymore. Unless you're filming a World War II Brooklyn Captain America scene. No one has stupid garbage cans. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Okay. Anyway, for the finish, the old team of DIY, DUI, do it yourself, Gargano and Ciampa, they hit their finish on Breaker. They go to pin him, and they're both doing a double pin. They clearly have him beat, but Carmelo Hayes pulls the referee away, and then after all this, after 2 hours of these fucking matches, an hour, at least an hour worth of these stupid matches on this program, Carmelo Hayes breaks things up with low blows and thumbs to the eye. After all this bullshit, you start with those. Never mind. No one knows pro wrestling anymore. You had nowhere to go, but now it's the big end of this giant car wreck, and he's doing now. And we were showing that the thumbs in the eye and the low blows are more effective than the elaborate setups with kendo sticks being bridged over the ropes in the first minute of the women's match. Oh God! And then Ciampa accidentally gives Gargano a knee because he's aiming for Carmelo, I think he hits them both. Turns around to Braun Breaker's finish. Braun pins Ciampa 1, 2, 3. Very good. Go home. Credits. Oh. Really useless injuries. Hopefully no one got injured, but really useless. A useless exhaustion of everyone's bump card. And I'm sure there's no way no injuries could come out of these things. No faith, it seems to me, more so with the women, no faith that anyone knows how to work because they've been given too many toys, too many distractions. It's just interchangeable. Because the kendo stick is the thing now. The garbage can, the table, the chair, that's the thing, and not the personality and their problem with the other personality. The men might have actually had more crap in the ring, but I don't think they used it as much, if that makes any sense. But they had 3 tables in there. I don't remember them breaking 3 tables. There was the elbow off the top I mentioned. Braun spears Ciampa through one at one point. That's 2. There had to be a third, but I can't really. And maybe the fact that I can't remember is also bad. The announcers, I don't remember the announcers saying if this year had the rule that if anyone climbs over the top and escapes, that forfeits for their team. Unless I missed it. I don't remember them repeating that was a rule, which would lead you to believe someone needs to go over the top and hit the floor again and get something. But no, that didn't happen. It would be not. I think it would be interesting, or I thought Undisputed on one of those war games, because a heel faction of 4 is clearly going to be in a lot of those things. That you would think that like the leader of a heel faction would just climb over the top and escape and forfeit for their team because they quit like cowards because they're heels. That hasn't happened yet, because I think people love the satisfying 1, 2, 3, which I agree with. However, if there's 2 of them on a show, why wouldn't Mandy Rose, whoever she's afraid of, climb over the top and quit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why it's not a possibility. Again, I don't remember them saying that was still the rule. I think they just kind of ignored it, but whatever. So clearly we're gonna get Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa again, and I expect that's gonna be the time Braun beats Ciampa. I was very surprised when Ciampa actually beat Braun, whatever. Like a couple, was it the Halloween one? Yeah, I think so. I was surprised. But it's gonna be weird without Gargano. I've been pretty hard on him, but it made sense. It was nice. He had his old music and everything else. I mean, his wife didn't come out or anything because she's like 19 months pregnant or something like that. But who knows? Whatever he does, I mean, he would have floundered. I mean, they would have shit on him on the main roster, just like most of the guys in his match, quite frankly. Or most of the guys on the old school team, we'll put it that way. They're never going to do shit on the main roster. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to say that, and I get no joy in that, but it was better than I thought it would be. It was long. Actually, you know what? It was only 3 hours. Felt like 5. The Peacock commercials and the fact, I mean, you're starting off with a very long match, and the thing is, I don't have a better solution. If you have a show with 2 Hell in a Cells, 2 Chambers, 2 War Games, even 2 Rumbles, you might want to argue. You keep them apart. The Rumbles, I think they'll do like a Rumble, 3 matches, and end it with a Rumble, like something like that. They'll usually do that. But yeah, you gotta space them. You can't do 2 War Games back to back or any of those. But what's done is done, I guess. What's done is done. Similar to what I think happened last year and the year before. It's like they start off with the women's one. They're doing everything. And I like the Io Shirai garbage can spot of last year. She puts the can over her head and jumps off the thing. It didn't bother me because at that point, if you watch the entire match, it was so bombastic with the spots they were setting up. Like at that point, I'm like, well, you can't be half pregnant, you know? Go stupid or go serious. Middle of the road squish. The left, okay. And right, okay. It goes back to Miyagi fixing the leg. Setting the leg so Cora Jade can get the pinfall and stumble between the 2 rings and the 2 aprons, which are the hardest parts of the ring. They're the hardest parts of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.